Before the video starts, check out the official Discord with the links in the description down below or on the screen right here for mobile users. We are a fast growing community, and if you want to join and speak to new people about the anime that we all love, or speak to me personally and get custom perks, check out the Major Dragon Discord and join our growing community within the Dragon Force. Now let's get on with the video. Namekians are an interesting species within Dragon Ball. They have rare mystical abilities to heal, unlock potential, even to create mystical wishing orbs known as the Dragon Balls, which would summon a dragon and grant any wish that you desire. Now, of course, we've seen Dragon Balls all over the universe. There are multiple different kinds, all the way from the Demon Realm to even ones of the original, the Super Dragon Balls, which are the size of planets. And there are ones on Earth and Namek itself. Well, what would happen if Goku had half of Namekian DNA? What if he was spliced with DNA, or he was given some magical properties of the Namekian heritage? What would happen? How would this work? Well, we're going to dive right on into it. Now, there are two routes that you can go down for this story. One of them first would be either Goku would land on planet Namek. Elder Guru does have foresight abilities. He could maybe see that this child does have an incredible future, and to give him a helping hand, they could use Purunga to then give him some of their latent abilities. And this would mean that Goku would basically be half Namekian. The other way that you could go is Bardock being a brilliant scientist. Bardock could have also, when he used the Dragon Balls initially, he wished for Goku to live to be strong. If you remember this is why Goku also kind of had plot armor a lot of the times, because of the Dragon Balls protecting Goku until he's big and strong. So that's what Bardock's original wish was. But what would happen if it changes? What if Bardock maybe wished that maybe Shenron can give his child a helping hand? And the dragon notices this, so the dragon would still give the same wish to where Goku's protected, but it'll also give it what it knows. The dragon was made by Namekian, so it would give Goku half of Namekian properties so it grows strong. So either way, you can jump down both those routes. But either way, Goku would still land on Earth. He would still meet Grandpa Gohan. Now, just to clarify, Goku would not look any different. He's still going to look the same. He's still going to have a Saiyan tail, but we'll get to that in a minute. So he's still going to be the exact same. He's not going to be different. He's not going to be green. He's not going to have antennas. He's not going to look crazy. He's still going to look like a Saiyan child. So Goku looks the same. But his forms will get down in the later part of the story. Goku would still meet Grandpa Gohan. Now, Goku was still a little wild, being a little wild Saiyan that he was. He would still fall and hit his head. Now, the one thing here is when Goku did hit his head, he does heal much faster. Goku's wounds heal at a much faster rate. Although it's not instant, but it can. It's much faster than a normal human. And even Grandpa Gohan was surprised that he was fine within a day, as Goku was out of commission for weeks and weeks as he had a bad head injury. Now, would this change Goku's personality? Yes, it will. I still think that him hitting his head would kind of turn off that evil Saiyan nature, and Goku would still have the same personality that he does today. So that wouldn't really change the story much, but Goku just heals faster. And he's still a loving and caring baby. Now, of course, throughout the years, things would go normal. Goku would be raised by Grandpa Gohan, and he would be taught everything that he knew. The one difference here is the fateful night when Goku turns into a great ape. Now, what happens? Well, would Goku still turn into a great ape? Yes, he will. But one difference. When Goku transforms into a great ape, he has full control. When Grandpa Gohan sees this ape monster, he knew it was Goku. He would try to stop him, but Goku would then speak to him, and he was in full control. This would shock Grandpa Gohan. What's happening? And Goku, when the moon, he then reverts back to normal. They would have to discuss it. Goku, in this what if, has full control because of his Namekian side. The Namekians have an ability to turn giant, and I think it would be cool if they mix that ability with the Uzaru state to where Goku still has some sentience in that form, so it's easier for him to master it and he can control the monster inside, aka the Great Ape. It's more nullified because of the mystical side of Namekian heritage. And one cool fact that Goku has is he can transform into a great ape at will. Because Namekians can turn giant whenever they want, and they can turn back down. We saw this with Piccolo. Piccolo always could. Now, it doesn't really increase his strength, it just increases his size. And Goku can now use this ability to transform into a great ape whenever he wants. It doesn't need to be under a moon at all. He does not need blood waves to transform. If there is a moon, he will still transform automatically, but without it, he can transform. So he can transform whenever he wants. It's just the moon is an automatic transform if he looks at it, because it still activates it without him knowing. But Goku can transform whenever he wants, daytime, nighttime, morning time, which is shocking to Grandpa Gohan, and he can see Goku's raw power. Having a 10 times boost is insane, and Goku is already absurdly strong, as power level was roughly around 10 by the time he met Bulma, so his power level is similar, it would be around 100, so he's rivaling almost Grandpa Gohan's power. Now with Grandpa Gohan around, he would still teach Goku certain things, and with him still around for a couple of years, Goku would be able to learn more abilities. He would be able to learn the Kamehameha wave. As Grandpa Gohan would show him, Goku would be able to master it instantly, seeing it for the first time. So that is also how I believe that Goku was able to master the Kamehameha so fast under Roshi, because Grandpa Gohan was already teaching him about the ki control before he died. And that's how I think. And Grandpa Gohan can actually use the Kamehameha wave. It was shown because he is Roshi's student. It was also shown in video games and more that he can use it. But now, this is when Bulma would still arrive, as he's still searching on her summer vacation from school, searching for the 4-star Dragon Ball. She would still meet Goku and Grandpa Gohan, so the interaction was much nicer. And Grandpa Gohan would allow Goku to leave and take the 4-star Dragon Ball, as this is Goku's journey. He knows that Goku needs this, and it'll help him grow as a warrior and as a person. So Goku and Bulma would still meet Master Roshi, and he would then give him the 3-star Dragon Ball and the Flying Nimbus. Roshi was happy to hear that Grandpa Gohan was alive and still doing well, so you could have Roshi heading up to Mount Paozu past them to go meet Grandpa Gohan and see how he's doing. When he does meet Grandpa Gohan would then explain about Goku's power and what he can transform into. It explains that that child has the potential to surpass you and me easily and become the strongest in the world. And he would then ask Roshi if he could teach his grandson if it's possible. And Roshi is interested, so he will, because Roshi knows that that child does need guidance. So he would begin and wait for the child to meet up with him. That would still happen. So Goku would still defeat the reign of the terrible Oolong, and an old woman would then give Bulma the 6-star Dragon Ball. This is when Goku would then meet Yamcha and Par for the first time. Now, the cool thing about Goku here is, what about his hunger issue? Goku still has a Saiyan appetite, but Goku can actually get full from drinking water. We know that Namekians, they only need water to survive. They can drink water and they're fine. Well, for Goku, he can eat normal food and he loves it and it still fills him up. He can also have a substitute and drink a lot of water and he'll be full again and he'll be fully nourished. Though he doesn't really like it because it's not as appetizing as delicious foods, but Goku would not be hungry when he meets up with Yamcha and Puar. And if you remember, Yamcha overwhelmed Goku because Goku was hungry. But this time around, he wouldn't be. He would have some water, and he's back to full strength. And he would actually overwhelm Yamcha. But Yamcha and Puar will still secretly follow Goku and Bulma and Oolong along their quest. Now, originally, Master Roshi met back up with the group, and he uses the Kamehameha wave to put out the flames on the Frying Pan Mountain. Now, although he destroys the mountain along with the castle as well, among the debris, they found the 7-star Dragon Ball. Now, I think this story would go a little bit differently. And the reason why the Frying Pan Mountain would not be destroyed is because this is when Goku would then transform. Goku would transform into a great ape. Now, with this, Goku would either do two things. He would, number one, use a cool move, which I think I would really like to see more of, is a thunderclap, where he would put both his hands together and clap with such force it would actually blow out the flames on the mountain itself, killing the fire. Goku can also cup a bunch of water in his... Remember, he's a 100-foot great ape, so he can realistically just grab water in his hand and just throw it on the fire if he really wanted to. But Goku in reality would just step on the fire, getting rid of it, or he would just blow blow air from his mouth and take out the fire, which I think will be a really cool scene if he did a powerful thunderclap that just blew all the trees down in the mountainside and it just completely took out the fire. That'd be really cool to see. And it'll be cool if great apes also did that. With their size, they can easily do that thunderclap with that. Would be awesome. But that would mean that the castle was not destroyed, but they would still find this 7-star Dragon Ball, just take a bit more finding, but Bulma has the radar, so they would just still find the Dragon Ball. Now, Goku would send Boss Rabbit and his gang to the moon, defeating them. Mai and Shu originally stole the Dragon Ball from Goku and the gang while they were sleeping, and that still could happen. The one difference is, if you guys remember, Goku was locked up in Pilaf's castle. He turned into a great ape and escaped. Realistically, he can turn into a great ape whenever he wants. So in reality, would they be able to get their wish? Well, there are a few things that can happen. I still think, hilariously, Goku and them would get the Dragon Balls and they would actually summon Shenron. But instead of it being Pilaf and them, I think Oolong would still blurt out something, such as the girl's underwear, which would be a funny scene. And Shenron would then give it to him, and Shenron would then disappear. And Bulma was so furious, she would beat on him severely. So it would be hilarious. But I still think that would probably still happen. It just wouldn't be Pilaf and them summoning it. It would be Goku and the gang. It'll be hilarious, so to see. But Goku and Krillin would become Master Roshi's students after finding launch. Roshi would also move his house to a larger island. And this is also originally with the events of the Dragon Ball Sleeping Princess and Devil's Castle movie would take place, but we're not going to dive into that. That's a movie, so it's not canon. But what about Goku? Well, what about his potential as well? As we know with Piccolo, Piccolo has some busted potential that was kind of slept on for a long time throughout Dragon Ball until Dragon Ball Super. He had a hard time unlocking his potential. He had a lot of it, and Shenron helped him, thus giving him a big jump in power. This is where I think one thing will happen with Goku and he'll find a new ability. Well, I think that Goku having Namekian potential on top of his own power already makes him a little bit stronger. So Goku, when he met up with Roshi alongside with Krillin and the others, they were right around 50 in terms of power level. Now Goku can already turn into a great ape whenever he wants to, and before anyone questions it, what if they remove his tail? Would Goku be able to turn into a great ape? Yes, he can. If his tail was cut off, he can still turn into a great ape. It'll be kind of similar how Vegeta, when he didn't have a tail, in GT, he was able to turn into one with the Blood Swave machine. Goku can turn giant mode, and he would still transform into a great ape if he wants to, because he can activate the Blood Swaves within his body. Goku can still do it. So even though he does have the tail issue, it wouldn't have mattered. Also, Goku having his tail is not a weakness. If you guys remember, Saiyans have to train their tails to not be their weak spot. So whenever you grab their tail, they lose all their power and they freeze up. That does not happen for Goku. So Goku still has his tail and he's fine. Now, as for Krillin and Goku, they originally had power levels around 50. I'm going to say that Goku has a power level of roughly around 60. I'm going to say he's a little bit stronger, not by a big margin. Also, one other question to answer is, would Goku age faster? Because he's half Namekian. If we know, Piccolo only aged for 3 years and he was an adult. Namekians age really quick, it seems, and they can also live for a very long time. We know this because of Elder Guru. He was very ancient, being nearly 1,000 years old, and he was able to still be alive. Well, we're going to see, I think Goku hit a weird growth spurt. So, you know how Saiyan's growth spurt are very odd compared to humans? If you look at a 16-year-old boy, realistically, he would be a teenager and he would start hitting puberty into a man. Goku didn't really hit a weird growth spurt when he was about 16. He still looked like he was like 12 and still younger than that. But once when he hit 16 to 18, within those 2 to 3 years, he hit a massive growth spurt and he was a full-grown adult. So that's when Saiyans reaches their full maturity, and then they don't age past that point until they're well into their 80s, which is like a weird thing for Saiyans. I think what will happen here is when Goku actually hits 16 years old, he'll actually be pretty much looking like he was 18. So it's actually a little bit faster. So Goku looks like a full-grown man by the time he's about 16 years old. He looks like he's over 18. And Goku can live longer than a normal Saiyan because of his Namekian DNA. Maybe even for hundreds of years, but we don't know. And he won't necessarily look like he's aging. Once when he hits 80, he'll start aging, but he won't look like he's a skeleton by the time he's a couple hundred years old. He'll just maybe have some gray hair. So he has slowed aging, so that's even more OP. But now getting back to the training. Now Goku and Krillin will still become Master Roshi students, and they will begin their training, as it will be the next 7 months of training, increasing the weight of turtle shells and more. Now, Goku, of course, has fully controlled the Great Ape state, so he doesn't need to worry about that at all. And Roshi would even help Goku in being able to use the Great Ape in more unique forms, because the Great Ape state is also very lumbering and slow. As Goku even said this with Piccolo in his giant form, same with the Great Ape. But Goku would find ways to utilize his power to its fullest against normal opponents in case he needs to. Now, this is when Roshi would then tell Goku to not use his Great Ape state for this world tournament and to use his own power. This is what Goku would do. So, for the 21st World Martial Art Tournament would still take place. Master Roshi was of course under the alias of Jackie Chun, having a crazy wig glued on his head, and he would battle Goku in the final round. Now, Krillin would do very well against Roshi, but fortunately he would lose. Roshi has more experience, and he also trained Krillin himself. He knows Krillin more than anybody else. Now, as for Goku. Goku and Roshi were pretty similar in power. They were around 120 or so, going at each other. This version of Goku is stronger. I would say he's around 150 to nearly 200, which means he would overwhelm Roshi. The only thing that Roshi has is pure experience. He would use this to try and overwhelm Goku and outmaneuver him and trick him, but I think this is when we would see Goku utilize a new ability. When Roshi does go buff form, and he does fire right at Goku, Goku would then use something that we were not expecting. Goku's arm would then extend and wrap around Roshi's body, and Goku would then be in shock. As his hand then retracted back to it, how did Goku's arm just stretch 30-40 feet? How is that possible? And Roshi was another shock too. Goku would then use this in combat, stretching his arms to insane lengths, and he would then use this to jump around the ring, climb around, and wrap around Roshi, who can't keep up with this kind of style, and Goku would overwhelm Roshi, knocking him out of the ring, making him the winner. Now, Goku would still eat all the earnings, pretty common, and Goku would still become the winner, eating all the earnings. Now, since that's done, what about the Red Ribbon Army saga? It would go a little bit similar, except Goku's much stronger. So Goku would have defeated General Blue. He would have still met Ariel, I believe. Mercenary Tao would not be able to beat up Goku, but I still think that Goku will be able to get up to Corn's Tower. One other thing too, Namekians have natural ki power. What I mean is that Piccolo was actually able to fly before anybody else could, other than Tien. Which I think will be awesome that Goku can fly now, especially when he fights Mercenary Tao. When Mercenary Tao maybe fights Goku, Goku would then start floating, and he realizes that he can fly, quickly learning how to do it, overwhelming Mercenary Tao, defeating him, and he would then actually fly up to Corn's Tower. Now, Corn was shocked to see Goku, and he could tell that Goku was different than anyone else he's ever seen before. But he would then begin his training to take the actual sacred water from Corn, not the water version. So, after a few days of training, Goku's heart was pure enough that Corn believed that he could. Goku would actually drink the real sacred water, not tap water. And with this power, how strong would Goku be? Well, Goku would be roughly in the 200s before drinking the water. After drinking the water, I think he'll be much higher, maybe in the 300s or more. With that power, he would be able to overwhelm the Red Ribbon Army and defeat them. And with the Red Ribbon Army now defeated, what now for Goku? Well, this is when Goku would then, of course, we would have a few years pass, 3 years later. I think Goku, again, he trained to go around the world. He would then, of course, do his normal thing. That's pretty much what Goku would do. He kind of have his own journey for the next 3 years. But when Goku does meet up to fight Tien Shinhan in the 22nd World Martial Arts Tournament, Goku's looks pretty much as he did in the first Dragon Ball Z episode when he fought Piccolo. Goku looks like he's 18, even though he's 16. He looks like a full-grown man. So when he does fight Tien Shinhan, Goku would easily defeat him in this round, as he's way above him. Goku's been training, getting a lot stronger. Krillin would still nearly be killed by Tambourine. One difference here is Goku can save his life. When Goku was holding Krillin's near lifeless, but Krillin was dying, there's nothing that they could have done but just comfort him as he was dying. Goku's hands would begin to glow as something was happening. He's beginning to heal Krillin. and Krillin would be brought back, and he was saved, right on the edge of death. Everybody was, of course, super happy, and Goku was beyond delighted that Krillin was brought back and he was okay. He would then go battle Tambourine, easily annihilating him, and then Demon King Piccolo himself. Now, Goku's power level by this point is easily in the 400s or higher. He would have overwhelmed Demon King Piccolo with ease. He has no chance against this version of Goku, even showing some of the Namekian abilities against him, stretching his limbs and more, and Demon King Piccolo was shocked. This is when we would have Goku punch through Demon King Piccolo with his extended hand, and Demon King Piccolo would still spit out an egg and he would still die. Now, this is when Goku would meet up with Yajirobe, and Yajirobe would then tell him about Kami. When Goku arrives to meet with Kami and Popo, Kami would work with Goku and explain that he's not fully human, nor is he fully a Saiyan. Now, does Kami know about the Saiyans? It's possible, but I think that Kami would really know that he's half Namekian, and he would tell Goku that he's a part of the same DNA and heritage of mystical arts that he is, and he would help Goku utilize this power to try and help him become as strong as he can be. So, Goku would then continue his training for the next few years. Now, when Goku, of course, does arrive to then see the 23rd World Martial Arts Tournament, to go see his friends and family, of course, everybody is super excited to see Goku. Goku practically looks the same. Of course, he's older, and he's a full-grown man by that point. He already was a few years ago. But now, how strong is Goku? Well, Goku, by this point, he had a power of around 400 when he defeated Demon King Piccolo. In my opinion, I feel like Goku would get a pretty big jump power, being at least 600 or higher. Now, with this power, he would absolutely annihilate Piccolo Jr. Unfortunately for Piccolo, he has no chance. Now, he did train really hard. His power level was around 300. Against Goku, there's just no way that he can defeat Goku. Goku would overwhelm him but spare his life, explaining that if Piccolo dies, then Kami dies. And if either one dies, the Dragon Balls will disappear. And Goku can't have that. Now, Kami would offer the position to basically be God over the world, or Guardian, and Goku would, of course, decline, as he doesn't really kind of want that job. It's not his thing. And Goku, would he still get with Chi-Chi? Yes. Remember, Goku is still stupid. He's not really the smartest guy. Although I know Grandpa Gohan was alive for a bit longer, he would still get with Chi-Chi. It wouldn't make much sense why he would get with anybody else, even if yes, you could say Bulma, but it wouldn't make much sense, because he still met Chi-Chi, and he still promised her all those years ago. Since Grandpa Gohan never really taught him about marriage or anything like that, he never really did, as he didn't think Goku had to worry about it. He was only 12, so it doesn't really matter. So Goku, I think, would still get with Chi-Chi, sorry fans, and they would still have Gohan. Now, Gohan does have small Namekian DNA within him, as Goku is half Namekian. Gohan is technically 25% Namekian. Now, would this change stuff for Gohan? We'll get into that in a little bit. But I'd still think that Gohan will probably inherit a trait or two from the Namekian culture, but we'll get into that in a moment, as now 5 years would pass. I don't think that Gohan's aging would change by this point, so Gohan still looks the same. So he does not have the aging trait of a Namekian, to where by the time they're like 3 to 4, they're like fully grown. That's not going to happen for Gohan. Gohan's aging will be the same as a normal Saiyan/human, so he's fine. Now, of course, 5 years have passed. Now, with Goku, he would still meet up with Bulma and the others at Master Roshi's Island, showing off Gohan, as of course, they never met Gohan before. Raditz would still land on Earth, as he still heard about his brother heading to planet Earth. He would still show up, and they would have an interaction. Where I think what would happen here is, how strong is Goku? Well, when Raditz does scan his power level, he sees his power level is about around 500. Not bad, but pretty weak. But for Earth, he should have easily conquered Earth by this point. Now, Raditz would overwhelm Goku initially, as Goku dropped his guard, as Raditz would knee him right in the stomach and still take Gohan, telling him, "You have 100 bodies here by the time I am back within the next few days." He would then leave. Goku would then team up with Piccolo. They would then both fly after to go after Raditz. Now, Piccolo wouldn't be too much help, but I think Piccolo's pushing himself. I think Piccolo would probably be in the high 400s because he's pushing himself much further. Maybe even 500 if you want, so he's equal to Goku. But now Goku was not at full strength. he was still holding back. He had weighted clothing and he wasn't at full power, which is why earlier he was in the 600s. That's why he was 500 here. He was holding back. That's why Raditz got the upper hand on him. So when they take all their armor off and the weighted clothing and they go to full power, Raditz would see a spike in their power level. Piccolo's power level would easily be 500 or more. Goku's power level would be the highest one. It'll be around 700 to 800. Goku didn't really do that much training during the 5 years, as he even said so himself. His power level didn't really jump that high, and so that's the reason why. So Raditz would see this could be a bit worrisome, because if they tag team him, he could have a hard time. So he has to keep them separate. They'll both tag team Raditz though, trying to fight him together. Raditz is doing his best. He's at full power, around 1,500, to keep them away. Now Goku knows he can turn into a grade 8, but he remembers that Raditz can also transform into one. Goku doesn't know that Saiyans cannot just transform into one whenever they want. He doesn't know that. So Goku thinks that, well, he can transform into it. He doesn't realize that Saiyans need the full moon only to transform. That they can't just transform at will. So Goku knows that's why he wouldn't really turn into a grade 8, because he knows that if Raditz does it, then they're all going to lose. But now, of course, Goku would then have a little bit of an ace up his sleeve, as remember he works with Piccolo, who has a special beam cannon. Now, one difference here is Goku would then grab his tail. Now, Raditz would still mess with Goku's emotions and make him let go. Raditz, of course, lied, and instead of this time, Piccolo's special beam cannon would actually hit Goku. It would blast his arm completely off. Now, Raditz was shocked, and he would then laugh at his brothers. Piccolo was in shock too. They're screwed. What are they going to do? This is when Gohan would still burst out of the space pod, and he would still hit Raditz, wounding him pretty well, and Gohan would then fall unconscious. This is when Raditz would then stare in horror, as Goku would then smirk, as he would then concentrate his energy. His arm would completely regenerate instantly, and this shocked Raditz beyond anything. How is this possible? And Goku has gotten stronger. Since he healed himself, it does take stamina to do this. Goku's power did jump way higher, because he got a nearly death injury of blasting his whole arm off. His power level skyrocketed way higher. His power level would then shoot way past 1,500. In my opinion, it would probably be in the 2,000 to 3,000 range, because of the severe Zenkai that he got, because look at what happened. With this, he would overwhelm Raditz, but he doesn't have much stamina left. He would be able to use a final Kamehameha wave. With Piccolo's help, firing his own blast, they would overwhelm Raditz, and Raditz would have been defeated during a beam clash, as Goku needed Piccolo's help because he was running out of stamina during the beam clash. With Goku's Kamehameha, Raditz's double Sunday, and Piccolo's own, maybe even Masenko if you want, or you could say special beam cannon, whichever one you want to say. Now, Raditz was defeated. This, of course, changes the story, as Goku never died. Meaning, would he go to King Kai's? Well, realistically, yes, he would. Because remember, Goku would still speak with Kami, and Kami would speak of a person who is the greatest teacher that he knows, who could help him. He's of divine essence. So, that's where we would have Goku meet up with everybody at Kami's lookout. Goku would then go see King Yama. Goku will persuade King Yama, because remember, King Yama does not want the paperwork of 8 billion people dying. So he lets Goku go. Now, would Goku be able to make it? Yes, because he doesn't need normal food. He can just eat clouds, as clouds technically do have water. Now, we don't know if the clouds that separate heaven from hell has water content in it, but I think it would be hilarious if they are, such as water vapor. Goku just starts eating a bunch of clouds, and that actually gives him water so he can sustain himself. I think that'll be absolutely hilarious, and could be possible. But what if Goku did? Imagine he ate a bunch of clouds that is technically all made up of water particles. He ate so much of it that the clouds of miles of it was missing, but he had enough to where now he was sustenance enough, he was able to go. And also, Namekians can also go a long time without eating as well. But Goku was able to fly, enhancing his trip by many months of speed. I think that Goku would be able to get there within about a week's time. Flying full speed, not being able to run all the curves and everything, being able to jump. Goku will be able to fly full speed. When he does get to King Kai's planet, he instantly crashes on it because of the 10 times gravity. He's not used to it. Now, we don't know how Piccolo is affected by gravity. We've never really seen it. But one thing I will say is Goku did do weight training a lot more. as it kind of ties him with Piccolo a lot, so Goku's weights are a bit heavier. When he does take them off, he is adjusting to the weight a lot better. So Goku does have many more months to train with King Kai, which does compensate for the fact that he's also living. Because when he's dead, he can train whenever he wants. He doesn't have to worry about it, eating or sleeping technically, eating, sleeping, or whatever. So Goku, since he's living, he has to sleep and rest and everything else. So those extra months help him out. Now, Goku's power level was roughly around 3,000 by this point, so we're going to say that Goku gets the same power boost as he does get the Kaioken and the Spirit Bomb technique. Now, King Kai would note on how Goku's very special because he's almost a hybrid. He's never seen one before, and he would explain who the Namekians are and more detailed heritage for Goku. But now, of course, Goku got 18.8 times stronger in the original, so Vegeta and Nappa would still arrive. Now, I still think that Goku would arrive late, because remember, he had to basically fly all the way back, and I still think that would happen. Now, the one difference here is I don't think all the Earthlings would die. I still think that Yamcha would still die, even though he allows it to, because Yamcha is the most powerful being. What I think Piccolo would still die, though, and the Dragon Balls would be lost. I still think that would happen. Also, people want to ask, would Kami help Goku try to make his own version of Dragon Balls? I believe yes, but I don't think that Goku's ready yet, as he needs to train for that. And Goku, of course, he's half Saiyan, so it'll be more difficult for him to do that. But we'll touch upon that later, with Goku and the Dragon Balls. But now, of course, Goku has now arrived. This means that also the likes of Tien and the others have not died. Piccolo died just a second ago. Goku sees Gohan streaming about him, and Yamcha is now gone. So this means that Kami's gone, meaning the Dragon Balls are now missing. Goku was, of course, very furious, and he would begin to power up. Vegeta was in shock as his scouter was shooting past 30,000, and it blew up. How strong is Goku? Well, 3,000 times 18.8 equals 56,400. I'm just going to even it out because it makes it seem better. Goku's power level is 57,000. Now, they're shocked. Like, what are they going to do? And Gohan and the others are so shocked with how strong Goku is. It's ridiculous. They've never sensed power like that. He can definitely take these guys on. So Nappa would try to go fight Goku. We know how this goes. Goku would overwhelm Nappa easily and slap him around. Then this is when Vegeta would then tell Nappa to stand down and that we might even need to tag team because of how strong he is. He tells Nappa to stand back and let him fight first. Vegeta, even at his full power, would get absolutely humiliated by Goku. His punches don't even damage Goku, really. Goku's just bouncing it off like how Broly was. Since Goku's over double his strength, Vegeta has no chance. He would then tell Nappa that they need to team up and attack him together. Even with both of them attacking, doesn't matter. Goku was just too strong, and he's kind of getting bored. But then this is when Vegeta does not have a choice. Now, Goku's tail is hidden under his G, so they don't see it. This is when Vegeta would then throw a fake moon. And him and Nappa would then transform into great apes. But now, Goku would just laugh and say, oh, y'all can turn into great apes too. Oh, that's really cool. Now, Goku's not worried because he can transform whenever he wants. Goku would just instantly transform into a great ape, as he didn't even look at the fake moon to transform. And Vegeta and Nappa wonder, they might be able to get him, he might not have control. But funny enough, Goku does a peace sign as he's in full control. Now they're shitting themselves because Goku would absolutely annihilate them, slapping them around monkey style. They have no chance. So they would then forcefully revert back to normal as Goku actually destroys the fake moon. But to Vegeta and Nappa's shock, Goku is still a great ape, and he's in full control. Goku would just revert right back, and Goku explains that, yeah, I can transform whenever I want. I don't need a moon to transform, whatever that light thing was. And Vegeta and Nappa knew that they're done. They don't have a chance here. They're tapping out. Frieza got it. So this is when they would then take their leave and accept defeat, because they know that they cannot defeat Goku. But I think that Nappa would be the only one who would try to fight Goku again. But I think Vegeta, he's not an idiot. He knows that Kakarot's not normal. This is a monster. They need to come back another day and accept their L. He would tell Nappa to stand down, or he'll handle him himself, as they're too wounded anyway to kind of fight anymore. So they both take their L. They would then leave, heading to Planet Frieza 79, where they would both get in the rejuvenation chamber, and they would actually get a lot stronger. Nappa, I think, would get a big Zenkai, in my opinion, jumping from 5,000 maybe to 10,000 plus. Vegeta would be, of course, similar in power level, jumping from 18,000 to around 24,000, 25,000. And would they still speed the Dragon Balls? Yes, so Frieza is heading his way towards Namek, and Vegeta and Nappa are also heading there as well. Now, since Goku and the others, they need to head to planet Namek. Now, Popo would help them with this, and when, of course, Bulma's help, they would be able to get the spaceship needed, and Goku would travel with Bulma, Krillin, Gohan, and they would then all head to planet Namek. The story last ended with Vegeta and Nappa being defeated, and the Z Fighters are now heading their way towards Namek. Goku does not do gravity training here, but he does do some mental training with Krillin and Gohan to help them get stronger and also to improve his own skills. Now, heading to Namek, Vegeta and Nappa would have arrived. Now, Nappa was originally dead in this part. It was originally just Vegeta running around doing his normal thing. What I think could happen here is when Vegeta originally, he attacked Kui first. And I think that would happen. I think Vegeta would still kill him. When Dodoria shows up, I think Vegeta would again attack him. And we all know what happens. Vegeta was a menace during this time. He would have overwhelmed them both and defeated them. This is when we would also have Vegeta kill Namekians as he was trying to search for the Dragon Balls. As well, he's going to use this wish to basically wish for immortality, and Nappa was going to help him. Now, we would also have Zarbon still arrive, and although Nappa has a power level of around 10 to 12,000, unfortunately that is not enough to match the likes of Zarbon. I don't think Zarbon would kill Vegeta or Nappa. What I do think what would happen is Vegeta would overwhelm Zarbon initially. Now, with Nappa teaming up, it's a bit of a closer battle, but Zarbon would then transform into his monster state, and he would overwhelm Vegeta and Nappa, severely wounding them, but they're alive. He would just take both of them back to Frieza's ship as they still need use for him. But what Zarbon fails to realize is when a Saiyan is severely injured, they do get much stronger. They get a big Zenkai boost. And I do think this would happen. I think Nappa would be more wounded than even Vegeta was. I think Vegeta would be not as beaten up. Nappa would have gotten more of the blunt force of it, nearly dying. Because of the fact that Nappa's more hot-headed, he's more willing to kind of go for it and not give up. I mean, even when Vegeta knew he was overwhelmed, I think that Zarbon would not be as nice towards Nappa, because Nappa was weaker than him. But Nappa would also get a big Zenkai. What would happen here is when they both recover, it'll be the same time, Vegeta's power level went up to around 30,000 plus. Nappa, I think, would have a big power jump as well, a huge one. I think that Nappa, in my personal opinion, would have a power level of well over 25,000. He's caught up to Vegeta. Vegeta is still stronger than him. Remember, by this point, if you have a power level of 1,000, 2,000 higher, you can kind of toss them around and overwhelm them. So Vegeta is still stronger than Nappa. And Nappa's too loyal to Vegeta to try and overthrow him anyway. Even if he was stronger, it wouldn't have mattered. Now, Zarbon quickly realizes that he cannot match the power of Vegeta and Nappa. They would overwhelm him and defeat him. Vegeta would also use this to also free out the Dragon Balls. This is where I think we would see a pretty cool battle. But I think what would happen here is Vegeta would distract Frieza and them by securing the Dragon Balls. He would throw them away. Nappa would also distract them as well by firing his own Ki Blast. Zarbon would then chase after Nappa. Now, when Nappa does meet up with Zarbon, he wants to have a rematch with him. And Zarbon goes into his monstrous form, which his monstrous form we know is around 25 to 28,000, and it'll be pretty similar with Nappa. But now, you need to realize though, Vegeta and Nappa, they're holding back. Yes, remember, they've learned to conceal their power level. And Vegeta's power level is much higher than 30,000, as he got beat up by Goku severely, and the Zenkai that he got from Zarbon is even worse, because they fought for a longer time. Vegeta was more wounded than before. Nappa was severely wounded, but he was alive. He was right on death's door. Nappa would then begin to power up, and his power level will jump from 25,000 to 30,000, which is overwhelming Zarbon. Nappa would get his revenge and kill Zarbon himself. Vegeta's power level is around 35,000, which is around the same as he was when he fought Raccoon. It was around 30,000 or so. So Vegeta is slightly stronger. He'll fare a little bit better against Raccoon when the time does come. Now, Goku and the others have arrived. And mind you, with Goku's power level, Goku's absurdly strong. Even the Great Ape State cannot match his power, as Goku's gotten much stronger since then as well, over the past few weeks of training. What's been going on for Namek? Well, the first thing that Goku and them would do is they would still see Dende and them being attacked by Frieza. This is where I would see Gohan probably rush out and hit them away. Now, I know I've been talking about Vegeta and Nappa a little bit, but I don't think that Dodoria and Zarbon would have been killed by Goku, and I think this is when Goku would have met Frieza for the first time. What I think would happen here is Frieza would fight Goku, and Frieza, I guess, unfortunately, Frieza's too powerful. Even if you want to argue if Goku got so much stronger, oh, could he fight Frieza in his first form? Maybe, but probably not. Frieza's just too powerful. He would overwhelm Goku and severely wound him, but with the help of Krillin blinding Frieza, they'll be able to escape with Dende. Now, Dende would be able to heal Goku once when they arrive at Elder Guru's place. Now, Elder Guru recognizes Goku to a degree. He has foreseen this happening. He knew that Goku was special. He would then put his hand on Goku's head and read his memories, and he knows that Goku is half Namekian, which surprises Goku. How is this possible? And this could go down either path, as I originally said in the first part. Goku maybe got help from the Namekians, or Bardock wished for Goku to get help, and that's how he got the Namekian power, or his DNA was given from a Namekian. Either way, he's special. Now, we would then have Elder Guru tell Goku that, well, I can help you unlock your latent potential. I can sense it within you. Your Saiyan power, mixing with the Namekian clan magic, can make for a truly incredible unlock of power. Now, Goku doesn't know what he means, and Elder Guru states that, well, you can transform into a Super Saiyan. And Goku doesn't know what a Super Saiyan is. Elder Guru says, but it's not normal. It's in our Namekian books that we have of history, but this transformation is different. It's a Super Saiyan mixed with the magical powers of a Namekian. It's something different. It's something special, unique. Maybe it's Super Saiyan Unlocked or Unleashed. Super Saiyan Unleashed, potentially. As then, Goku would then look to Elder Guru and says, well, how do I unlock this power? And he says, you already could have turned into a Super Saiyan with how high your S cells are. As remember, Elder Guru can sense it. He explains that you need intense rage, but since you're half Namekian, you need to fuse with a older Elder Namekian to unlock the magical properties to use the form. Goku already has the one half ready. He does have his Saiyan half ready to turn Super Saiyan. He just needs the Namekian half to help mix together to unlock this special power and to unlock this form. And Goku says, with this form, will I be able to beat Frieza? And he says, absolutely. You will have a power unlike anything you've ever seen. And so Elder Guru would then put his hand on Goku's head and unlock his potential. Same with Krillin, Gohan, and the others. He would then explain to Nail that Dende will have to be the next one to watch over the Dragon Balls for the time being, as he would then look to Goku and explain that I will fuse with you. Now, this shocks everybody, as Elder Guru would then put his hand on Dende's head and he would transfer his essence over to Dende, so Dende is now the carrier of the Dragon Balls. If Dende dies, then, well, the Dragon Balls are gone. Now, we know, is this technically possible? Realistically, not really, but I don't see why it couldn't be. Why not? Since Dende can make his own Dragon Balls, it would be really cool for Elder Guru to pass his essence on to Dende. Elder Guru explains that while I'm not the strongest physically, but Namekian fusion unlocks power like you've never seen before. And you will also unlock the power that you need to defeat Frieza. And he explains that with this, you will honor me and my people by defeating Frieza, but also you will be a light in the universe that no one will be able to defeat. And so, Goku would then take Elder Guru's hand, as they would then fuse. As then a bright light would then explode. Similar to how when Goku turned Super Saiyan 4, the bright beam of light surrounded almost the whole planet, as the living Namekians who are alive watch in awe, as Goku has transformed. Goku is different. Goku's hair was standing up in a weirdish way, not fully straight, but almost there, and it was orange. He also has orange reddish eyes. And on his back, he has the symbol on his back, similar to how Piccolo does, that's glowing. Goku's tail is also orange as well, and the fiery orange yellowish aura was then around Goku. Goku's power was like anything anyone has ever seen. Now, how strong is this form? Well, this form is an homage to Super Saiyan and also mixing in Piccolo's orange form just for looks, just because it looks really cool. Goku was also bulkier in size. He also gained a few inches in height. Goku was originally around 5'9". Now he's around 6'5", so he's a lot taller, and he also got bigger muscle mass, where he basically looks like he did when he fought Frieza at the end of Planet Namek's destruction, where he was super jacked and big. That's what he looks like, and it's really cool looking. So Goku's a monster. Now, Goku's power. How strong is Goku? Well, if Elder Guru unlocked his inner potential, Goku had so much inner power within him, and with Elder Guru fusing with him, Goku has a new level of power that people are not ready for. Now, how strong is Goku? The end result. Goku in this form, his power level is equal to that of, I would say, around 300 million. 350 to 400 million. Which is equal to pretty much the androids from this timeline, which shows you how strong Goku is. These are the same androids that can also defeat Frieza with absolute ease. So we would then have Goku, as he would look to his friends and smile at them, he explains that he'll go handle Frieza, and this is when Goku would then take his leave to go after them. Now Frieza, also seeing all this chaos that's going on, the Ginyu Force has arrived. Vegeta and Nappa have actually been fighting them, but they then stopped in their tracks as they were fighting Raccoon, as they felt the massive amount of power, and they saw the beam of light appear, and Vegeta's eyes were boggling. Who was that? What was that power? Is it Kakarot? But it doesn't sense like Kakarot anymore. It senses like a new being. As then Goku would suddenly appear next to Vegeta and Nappa, shocking them, as they think he's a Super Saiyan. Look at him. As Goku would have easily defeated Raccoon, Jace, Burter, and Guldo, everybody at the same time. Even Guldo's time freeze didn't work, as Goku just caught him off guard and fired a ki blast without Guldo knowing, and he would have died. Goku would also fight Captain Ginyu, who would try to use the Change Now technique on Goku, but it didn't work. Goku overwhelmed him and defeated him. This is when Frieza would finally make his appearance, and Goku says that he apologizes for their last match, but now he's ready to fight again. Frieza's terrified because it's a Super Saiyan, but he can't sense energy, so he thinks he might be able to beat him. Maybe. He would then fight him in his first form. That does not work out very well. His punches do zero effect. Frieza would, of course, try more, as Frieza would try to charge up his energy and go into his second form. Now, we all know how this works out for Frieza. Even with his second form, it has no chance against Goku. Goku is easily overwhelming Frieza, and Frieza has no chance. Frieza would then have no other choice but to go into his final form, and with his final form, he would start his assault on Goku, trying to beat him with everything that he has. But unfortunately for Frieza, Frieza has no chance. Goku was even getting bored. Now, Frieza was getting desperate. Frieza would try to blow up the planet by firing a ki blast down, but it didn't work. Goku would have stopped it. Goku would tell Frieza to go 100%. He wants to face Frieza at his best. So that's what Frieza would do, going 100%. Unfortunately, his punches do no effect. Goku's literally nearly 4 times the strength of him, and Goku would overwhelm Frieza. Goku would not waste any time, but he would spare Frieza, but Frieza was severely wounded, back down to his final form, as he was missing some of his limbs, as Goku would spare Frieza and tell him just to get out of here and to never return. This is when I think we would see Vegeta kill Frieza. He would fire a ki blast and get rid of Frieza's head, killing him, which Goku was mad at Vegeta, but Vegeta explains that Frieza deserves zero mercy. He is pure evil. And so since that Frieza was killed, now what? What are the Z Fighters going to do? Well, Dende is technically the holder of the new Namekian Dragon Balls, so technically he can just summon Porunga, and Vegeta wouldn't try his wish as Goku's there, but they would then wish Piccolo back and all the others that were killed by Frieza and more, and things were brought back to normal. Now, of course, Goku would then even offer Dende if he does want to come back to Earth as well, but we'll worry about that later because that's a later arc. Now, would Goku go to Planet Yardrat? Realistically, no, because he doesn't really need it. Now, since he did fuse with Elder Guru, he has all the Namekian history and knowledge stored within his memory. He knows a lot of stuff. He even knows about the Super Saiyan God because it's in the Namekian book. And Elder Guru knows it because he's the one who wrote the book. So Goku knows a lot of things. He knows about Beerus. He knows about a lot of stuff. He doesn't really say it, but he knows a lot. He's way more mature acting for his age, having been fused with a Namekian that's thousands of years old. And so Goku and his friends would then all head back to Earth. And Vegeta and Nappa, what would they do? I think that Vegeta and them will then follow Goku. Vegeta wants to learn how to become a Super Saiyan, and that's why he will then find Goku and figure out how he can do it. If a low class can turn into a Super Saiyan, then he can do it. And Nappa would, of course, follow Vegeta because, again, Nappa, of course, follows anybody. And now that they have finally arrived back on Earth, peace was finally restored for the next few years. I think Vegeta would have a romance with Bulma. That would go the same. Nappa, of course, would still hang around Capsule Corp, and he's still loyal to Vegeta, as Bulma would kind of have him as more like a bodyguard-ish in a way. But I think they would kind of settle down a little bit. But now, what about the rest of the arc? Well, Trunks would still arrive from the future timeline. Trunks would be shocked to see that things are a little bit different. He doesn't remember Goku being here early, nor does he remember things being this way. Who's this guy? He doesn't know who Nappa is at all, and that's just weird. But he would still have an interaction with Goku. I think the Z Fighters would all be there to see the interaction. Trunks would go Super Saiyan, surprising everybody. Goku would then go into his own version of Super Saiyan Unleashed, and it would shock Trunks with how different his form is. And the power that Goku had was unlike anything Trunks has ever seen. Trunks knew that Goku can easily beat the androids. As Trunks wonders, did him going back in time really change this much? But I guess it's a good thing, I guess, because the androids are going to be no match for Goku's strength. This is incredible. But then he would still give Goku the heart virus medicine because, again, Goku had the heart virus and died originally. He would explain that in 3 years' time, the androids will arrive at this location and at this place. And Goku would agree, and Trunks would then go back to his timeline, and he said that he will join them when the time is right. So, since that was all said and done, the Z Fighters would begin training for the next 3 years. Now, Vegeta would then fly off into space on his own privately, as Nappa would just kind of hang around. I think Nappa would actually hang around the other Z Fighters, such as Piccolo, Goku, and the others, so he can get stronger as well. Now, Vegeta had to go on his own little journey to find out who he was, basically just to kind of, do his thing. We all know that he unlocked Super Saiyan. And I think with Goku helping out Nappa, wouldn't Nappa be able to go into a Super Saiyan? I highly doubt. Now, I think Nappa is super close, but I don't think Nappa's there just yet to turn into a Super Saiyan. But he is really close. Goku does teach Nappa how to use the Kaioken technique for the time being, and it does actually work. Although he can only use ×2 to ×3. He can't go that high. And now, he would also unlock their potentials. Remember, since he fused with Elder Guru had the ability to unlock one's potential. He would do this for Piccolo, he would do this for Nappa, and he would do it for all the other Z Fighters, making them all a lot stronger than the original, at least twice the strength. So when the time does come around, when the androids do arrive, Goku would still square up against Dr. Gero and Android 19. Now Goku would transform, but we know that Goku would start having the issues of the heart virus. But what would happen? Would Goku still get it, technically? I think yes. I still think that the heart virus is still potent enough to attack Goku. I know that Goku does have a healing factor, and you could argue that, well, could he technically just heal himself? Or maybe since he's half Namekian, it's not as severe. This is what I think what would happen. I still think that the heart virus would still attack Goku, and it would still hurt him, and Goku's still ill. I don't think that it would be deadly, though. I still think that Goku would, if he never had the medicine, Goku would still be out of commission for at least a week or two, but his natural Namekian cells would actually fight back the heart virus, and Goku would have survived. So no matter what, he would have been fine. It's just the medicine will speed up the process by multiple weeks, so Goku will heal within a few days. And that's basically my theory for it, but I still think it will still affect him. It's just his natural Namekian healing would fight back against the heart virus better than normal, and Goku would be fine. But now carrying on, what now? Well, Goku would still succumb to the heart virus. He would have to be pulled away by Yamcha and the others, taking him away. This is when I think we would see either Vegeta show up, like he originally does, and he would attack Android 19, overwhelming him, the fact that he has Super Saiyan, and Dr. Gero would still be able to escape. He would still be able to flee and activate the androids. Now, with 16, 17, and 18 activated, they would have killed Dr. Gero. These androids are different. Major Dragon, how are they different? You'll see shortly. You see now, when Vegeta goes to fight the androids, They're a bit more powerful than the original, but that's not what makes them so dangerous. When Vegeta goes to battle one of them, he would use his final attack, the Final Flash, which Android 18 would basically tank it head on. He would see that Android 18 does have a small scratch on her face. It was a small little gash of wound. Vegeta would then laugh and state that that's a bad look for a woman. She would then smirk and state how much of a weak fool he was, as then her wound would instantly heal. These androids have the healing properties of a Namekian because it's from Goku. He was born that way. Now, the regeneration, I'm going to be honest with you, is not the same as Cell's. Cell's regeneration is way better. He can regenerate from a single cell itself because he's Cell. That's a lot of cells, isn't it? But these androids can regenerate bad wounds and reverse limbs and more, which is really bad. That also, on top of the fact that they're near infinite stamina and energy, they're a force to be reckoned with. They would overwhelm Vegeta, breaking both of his arms. Nappa would have been overwhelmed. Then this is when we would see everyone else get overwhelmed. Piccolo would be a different story. Now, we know that Piccolo knows that he needs to go fuse with Kami. He knows that they need to. They don't have a choice. So he would go fuse with Kami, becoming stronger. And on top of the fact that he has potential unlocked, he is a lot stronger than Android 17 by this point. He's actually matching that of First Form Cell and Android 16. And so with this power, he would overwhelm Android 17. But the problem is he keeps on regenerating and Piccolo. So any damage that Piccolo does, which he badly wounds him, punching holes in him, punching off limbs or more, 17 just keeps on regenerating. And he keeps coming at Piccolo full speed, not even seeming to tire. While Piccolo, he's starting to lose energy and he's starting to get tired. Now, when Cell does show up, Piccolo is still exhausted, so Cell would have easily overwhelmed him. 16, again, is actually a little bit stronger than the original, so he'd be able to hold off First Form Cell. Now, I think Cell would still trick Android 17, and he would absorb him. Cell would then go into his second form. His second form's pretty much the same. It wouldn't make too much sense to change it, but it's roughly the same. It wouldn't make much sense to change Cell's power. As now, because of that, then he would look to absorb Android 18 as she's next. But 16 would then jump in, but he was overwhelmed by Cell. He was too strong. Tien would then hold Cell back, giving 18 and 16 enough time to run away to one of the fleeing islands. As then Cell would then begin screaming, trying to find them. We would then have Vegeta finally step out of the Room of Spirit and Time, as Vegeta would not have trained with Trunks this time. I think what would happen is Vegeta would train with Nappa. And Nappa would be pushed past his limits, but I think Nappa would then unlock Super Saiyan and more. And so, with him and Vegeta, since they know each other longer than Vegeta and Trunks, so Vegeta would push Nappa near death. That's what they need to do, is abuse their Zenkais. So, when Nappa and Vegeta do step out, Nappa's wearing the Saiyan armor, same with Vegeta, they would then all step up and go fight Cell. Now, of course, Nappa was itching to fight Cell, as Vegeta would, of course, step up, going into Ascended Super Saiyan, and he would overwhelm Second Form Cell. Now, when Cell, of course, is overwhelming Vegeta, we would then have Cell trick Vegeta. Now, originally, Cell overwhelmed Vegeta because he went into his final form. Vegeta had no chance. But I think what would happen here is I don't think Nappa would try to stop Vegeta like how Trunks did. Nappa's just as much of an idiot hothead as Vegeta acted, so he's interested to see. As he's confident, he thinks that even if Vegeta does get overwhelmed, they'll tag team Cell and they'll beat him, so it's fine. That was a terrible mistake, as Vegeta would allow Android 18 to be absorbed, and now Cell is in his final form, aka Perfect Cell. And with Perfect Cell, what are they going to do? Even though Vegeta was overwhelmed in his Ascended Super Saiyan form, Nappa would even have his own Ascended Super Saiyan form, bulking in size a bit more after turning Super Saiyan. Even both of them teaming up, it would not matter to Cell. Cell was toying with him, he was just warming up, getting used to his new body. Even though Vegeta tried using his Final Flash, and Nappa tried his own attack, which is a massive mouth beam, it didn't do any effect on Cell. It did blow his arm off, but he quickly regenerated, saying that he has the androids and Piccolo and Goku cells. He can regenerate instantly. Cell would overwhelm both of them, and he was practically bored. This is when I think Nappa would then impress Cell. What would happen here is Nappa would then go further. Now, this is because out of desperation, because he has no other choice. Nappa would then go into his third grade Super Saiyan, being huge in bulkiness, being like Broly size, by the way. And even though he is incredibly slow, he was able to match Cell in strength, way more than even Trunks did, because Nappa's physically way stronger than Trunks, as look at their physiques. And Cell was amazed by Nappa's strength. Nappa would even be able to hold Cell and grapple him and crush Cell between him, breaking his spine, but Cell would just recover instantly. Cell was just too fast for Nappa and just as strong, so he would overwhelm him and defeat him. But Cell was very impressed. He wants to fight that again. And he explains, if I give y'all some time, can y'all get stronger show-wise and plot-wise? Oh, that's great. Okay. So he spares them, and he would then make up the Cell games. They have around 11 days to train. And this is when Goku would then step up with Gohan, and he would then step into the Room of Spirit and Time. This is where I think Vegeta would step back in as well, and he would also step in with Trunks this time. And Trunks would also get his time to shine, and he would also get stronger as well. Now, Nappa, would he really step in? I don't really think so. Piccolo would, of course, step in on his own term. Same with the Earthlings. As Goku inside the Room of Spirit and Time with Gohan, he would help Gohan unlock Super Saiyan, learn how to master it as he mastered his own form, and they begin training together. Since Goku is so much stronger than the original, Gohan is being pushed even further. And Gohan's potential is roughly even a little bit higher because of the Namekian genes. So Gohan is incredibly strong. I will say this though, his Super Saiyan is the same. It's not really going to change too much. Maybe his later forms might be different. We shall see. But Goku inside the Room of Spirit and Time saw something. He saw Gohan's hidden power when Gohan transformed. Goku again, he unlocked Gohan's inner potential before. Gohan knows that he has some power within him. Goku saw it for a brief moment. He saw a sparkle of electricity, and Gohan's hair color changed into something that I don't think you guys are ready to see yet. But now, Goku, they're more than ready to go fight Cell, by the way, but Goku's natural potential, even higher than before, training with Gohan in the Room of Spirit and Time, Goku is more than ready. But now, they would then all meet up for the Cell games. Now, Goku would of course step up first and battle Cell. Goku, albeit he's so strong, he would actually be equal to Cell at his full power, which is way stronger. Cell was way stronger than even they were. They shocked him when he went full power. This is not super perfect, this is normal perfect Cell. Goku was a match for him. But Goku would then give up. As he explains that he gave Cell everything he had, but in the end Cell would just outlast Goku. And he would then send Gohan up, because he knows that Gohan has his inner potential. Gohan goes to fight Cell, but he doesn't have that nature. He's not a fighter. He's just a boy. He's not a fighter. He has the human side to him as well. Even Piccolo would say so. And it would take a lot, as Cell would be able to match Gohan. Gohan is slightly stronger than even his father, but Cell had, of course, the Saiyan nature. Gohan just lost the will to fight, and he was overwhelmed by Cell. And Cell would even give birth to the Cell Juniors, and the Cell Juniors would then wreak havoc. Cell knows that Gohan has a hidden power, and he wants to see it. The Saiyan genes are taken over. He would then torture Gohan's friends and his family, and it would nearly push Gohan over the edge, as Gohan was beginning to change. Something was changing in Gohan. As they saw it, his hair was glowing. Something was changing. But he just needs one final push. This is when Android 16 would blow himself up, but Cell survived it. This is when Herculean threw the head, and 16 told Gohan to let it go. It's okay. It's okay to fight for things that you love. And Cell would then kill 16, and it would finally send Gohan over the edge. Gohan has ascended to a new level, something that no one has ever seen before. Gohan has activated the Namekian magic that is within him. But this magic is different. There's something more evil. If you guys remember, the Namekian clans, they have their magical abilities. But there is something called evil Namekians. These Namekians have a dark power. And they are naturally stronger than the light power, which is what Goku uses with the Super Saiyan form. But Gohan is able to activate this magic and have a new power that they've never seen before. Gohan's hair was now standing up like a Super Saiyan 2, and his hair was now a purplish color, with red and black lightning shooting around his body. Gohan's eyes were pitch black, with red glowing pupils. Gohan was something else. His rage unlocked a dark power as Goku was unsure of what Gohan has become. Cell was in shock, as Gohan would then fly in and waste no time on Cell. He was showing him no mercy. He was a beast. Cell had no chance against this version of Gohan. The strength that this version of Gohan had was beyond anything that anyone's ever seen. How strong? He rivals and surpasses that of Majin Vegeta and Super Saiyan 2 Goku when they fought Buu. He rivals that of Fat Buu when he fought Vegeta, which is absurd. Gohan would not show any mercy. He would have easily killed the Cell Juniors within a single strike, getting the bag of senzu beans, giving it to the rest of the Z Fighters. So Gohan is still in there, and he has somewhat control over it. His rage and power is aimed at one being only: Cell. Cell is getting desperate. Cell charges his final attack as nothing else is working on Gohan. He would then fire his full power Kamehameha right at Gohan. Gohan would then put his hand out, and he would then yell out Kamehameha as well. It would clash with Cell's attack, easily overwhelming it, and it would engulf Cell. And Cell was completely incinerated. Cell had zero chance. Gohan would then revert back to normal, and he would then fall unconscious, as everybody was relieved that the battle was now over. But now that peace was finally restored, this of course changes up the story slightly. Goku's not dead, which means he doesn't go to the other world and learn about the fusion dance or more. But he is alive. So for the next 7 years, Gohan would not be a slouch. Goku, with the help of Piccolo and the others, would help Gohan master that power that he has and keep his training up. Goku would even learn how to find a power similar to that. As for Piccolo, this also makes Piccolo question that maybe he needs to also find power like that too. If Goku has Namekian blood within him, maybe Piccolo can have a power like that too one day. Vegeta also having Goku around, he can fight him whenever he wants. He's not as spiteful and crazy. Him and Nappa actually settled down. Nappa, of course, is not with anybody, but he does find peace at the Capsule Corp. He's kind of like a bodyguard, and he travels around. Vegeta, of course, is happy with Bulma. They have their child Trunks, and everything is peaceful. Trunks also does return to his timeline. He easily defeats the androids because he has stronger people that he trained with, overwhelm the androids, and also killed Cell, saving his timeline as well. And peace was finally restored. As years later, all the Z Fighters would then meet up for the World Martial Arts Tournament. Now, Gohan has started high school. That's where he would still meet Videl. He would still be the Golden Warrior, and Gohan would still become the Great Saiyan Man. And peace was finally brought to Earth until, when they were at the World Tournament, they meet a strange being who would then ask Goku and his friends for assistance to defeat a powerful foe named Majin Buu. All of the Z Fighters have now made it to the World Tournament. They're here, of course, to have some fun, see any new fighters, and maybe fight some of them as well. Now, Vegeta here will be a bit different than the original story because he does not have a vendetta against Goku. He's not angry, nor having a midlife crisis, pretty much. Because he can fight Goku whenever he wants, he's already fought him, and he already has that respect that Kakarot is number one. But he is going to strive himself to try and surpass him and become the strongest, of course. That goal is never going to change. Now, of course, with Goku having Elder Guru on his side as well, he is a lot more mature acting, which you will see definitely in the later arcs of Dragon Ball Super. He'll be more serious. But they would still meet up. Gohan has still met Videl, and they've grown fond of each other. Gohan's still going to high school, and Gohan still becomes the Great Saiyan Man. The one difference here for Gohan is he's not as much of a slouch as he originally was. Gohan got comfortable and he kind of slacked off on his training to focus on school and studies. and he became even weaker than he was when he fought Cell in the original, even getting jokes from Vegeta and people mocking him about it. This is why he struggled so much, but then he had his revival and then fall once again. Not this version of Gohan. This version of Gohan has gotten stronger. He has continued his training because of Goku being around, keeping Gohan up on his training, and Piccolo's also around as well to make sure. Goku knows that Gohan is absurdly powerful. He has the potential to even surpass him. And Goku would keep that going. Now, Gohan would, of course, still be able to get into Orange Star High School where he would meet Videl. All that goes the same. We are now at the World Tournament, where they would still meet the Supreme Kai. I think that Videl would still fight Spopovich, and she would still lose, being beaten severely. Gohan would help her out with the Sensu Bean, and things were normal. The one thing here is when Gohan goes to fight Kibito. Now, Kibito here is a Kai, and they don't really know about it yet, but he wants to see Gohan's true power. This is where I think we would see Gohan transform into his Super Saiyan 2 transformation. But of course, we know, if you guys have seen the last part, it's a little bit different than the original version. It's more demonic. Gohan has been able to tame this power and use it for himself. So it's Demonic Super Saiyan or Demon King Super Saiyan. It's Gohan's own form. And this power was beyond anything that Kibito or the Supreme Kai has ever felt before. Goku, of course, is not surprised. He's very proud of his son. Since that Gohan kept his training up, he's only gotten stronger. As Gohan even stated himself in the superhero movie, that all he has to do is some light training here and there, and he'll be able to get stronger. Well, Spopovich and Yamu would still take Gohan's energy and flee heading towards Babidi's ship. Supreme Kai allowed this to happen so they could track where Babidi is and defeat them before Majin Buu is even born. Once when they do arrive on the ship, we would see Vegeta fighting Pui Pui, and he absolutely annihilates them. Similar to that of Goku fighting Yakon, he would just burst into his Super Saiyan form, and Yakon would have been defeated. Goku's way too powerful. The other Z fighters are also much stronger as well because they have Goku around. Goku would be fighting Vegeta a lot more, so Vegeta's not training incorrectly. Vegeta's even stronger, Gohan's stronger, even Piccolo is very strong. We'll get into that in a minute. As, what about Babidi taking over Vegeta? Well, there is one person that I think we've forgotten about. Nappa. Nappa is still around, and Nappa has been keeping his training up. Nappa is very, very strong. He's even able to keep up with Prince Vegeta himself because Nappa is struggling. Nappa's having a hard time adjusting to this life. While it is peaceful and things have calmed down since the Frieza part, Nappa's really struggling because he misses being who he wants to be. Think about this. Nappa's always been catering to Vegeta, no matter what, loyal to Vegeta. And finally, now that that's over with, he doesn't know who he wants to be. He doesn't know what he wants to do. Nappa is still a Saiyan no matter what. And yes, he has calmed down a lot. He's not as crazy as he used to be, but he still is a fighter. That's how Nappa always is. That's his personality, even more than Vegeta was. This is when I think Babidi would then attack Nappa, and Nappa would become Majin controlled. Now with this, we have a problem, because Nappa is absurdly strong. And a Nappa would want to challenge Vegeta outright to a match. And Babidi would then change the location with his magic, and Vegeta and Nappa would then have a battle. Now Vegeta, of course, in Super Saiyan, with Nappa in Super Saiyan, with this Majin control, Nappa has caught up to Vegeta and even surpassed the Prince. Even stronger, way stronger now with this Majin control, as Nappa is being pushed to his limits. Nappa, as a Super Saiyan 2, is able to keep up with Vegeta and overwhelm him as they're both in Super Saiyan 2 transformation. Nappa is, of course, struggling because he tells Vegeta that he will always have his pride and that he's tired of just living under Vegeta's shadow. He wants to be a fighter and a killer like he originally was, but this time not being told what to do. Vegeta is trying to pull Nappa from this Majin control, and Nappa is able to overwhelm the Majin control. He just wants to fight, and Babidi cannot control him. His pride is too strong. He may have control of his body, but he will have one thing: his pride. And during this time, we would then have Deborah jump in to try and attack Goku and the others. Now, because the fact that they took Gohan's energy, who was already absurdly strong, Majin Buu is way more than ready. Babidi just needed a minute to transfer all the energy to Buu. It's actually more than what Buu needed, and he can't fit any more energy in there, so Buu is actually supercharged. So, on top of the fact that Nappa is also getting energy as well, Buu is basically supercharged up. So when Buu does come out, it's still the fat Buu that we know, but he's steaming nonstop. Like, he's shooting steam out nonstop. You see veins around him, and he's a little bit different. He's not really fat. It is Fat Buu, but imagine an evolution. There's so much power going through Majin Buu right now that he's evolving. This Majin Buu looks like Fit Buu. If you guys remember from Dragon Ball Super, that's who it looks like. He looks like Fit Buu, and because there's so much energy going into Buu, he's kind of bulky as well. So he's a buff-looking fat Majin Buu with a cape. So he basically looks like his Super Buu version when he lost a lot of weight and he fought Goku before going into the tournament. But imagine a bit more buff. So he's actually pretty swole. And his power is way higher than originally is. It's way higher than Super Buu's power level was. Way higher than that. I think easily because of the overcharging of energy that he's having. And Gohan is that powerful. He's evolved. Buu here is in the realms of Buuhan, or a little bit less. I would say more like Buu tanks. And it's very powerful. So Buu would fight Goku and the others, pushing them all, as Vegeta and Nappa would get their squabble over with, as Vegeta would then showcase his new form. He hasn't really used it yet. He would use Super Saiyan 3. With Super Saiyan 3, because he has Goku around, he would be able to use the Final Flash and defeat Nappa, but spare him, and then Nappa would then help Vegeta in fighting Buu. Now, Goku and Piccolo were fighting Majin Buu, and Majin Buu is very powerful. This is when Goku would transform even further beyond. Even Gohan would even jump in as well, and Goku would be able to overwhelm Majin Buu, and it would be a crazy fight. But Goku knows that Buu isn't really evil, as he's not trying to kill anybody, he's just trying to fight. He's like a naughty child. He doesn't know any better. And Goku would then trick Majin Buu into letting him not listen to Babidi. This is when I think Babidi would be killed by either Piccolo or Buu himself. And what about Goten and Trunks? Well, Goten and Trunks are going to be similar in terms of power scaling and potentials because, you know, Goku is half Namekian. By that point, Goten's going to have such a small percentage of Namekian, it's not really going to change any of his DNA. He's pretty much half Saiyan, half human. Now, as for Majin Buu, I think he would be spared. And would he split? Well, I think he would only split under intense emotions. I think what would happen here is he would still be let off to go on his own. He would still meet Hercule to become best friends. Majin Buu would still split, thus making Evil Buu, who is the exact same. Now, even though Majin Buu was a lot weaker, he's still much stronger than Evil Buu. Evil Buu tricks him. As Evil Buu would then when Majin Buu tries turning him into candy, he messes up and Evil Buu blows the attack back, eating him, becoming Super Buu. Now, Super Buu was even stronger and even meaner. So when Goku goes to meet up to go fight Super Buu, Goku would then showcase his new form, which is the Super Saiyan 3 transformation, but we know that his form looks a lot different because he's also part Namekian. And Goku is overwhelming Super Buu, but that's the whole point. Super Buu would then try to absorb Goku, but I think Goku would form a ki shield around himself. And as Goku was now trapped in Buu's body, he has to explore to try and find a way out and even help out Fat Buu because he could sense that Fat Buu was in there. But now Buu would then go into stasis as he's just standing there. Also, Nappa would also have the Majin Curse broken by the help of the Supreme Kai. Now as well, they would also have interest in help training Gohan because of his immense potential. But we'll get into that later. It's not as urgent because Goku's fighting Buu. Now with Majin Buu just standing there, Goku would finally be able to find Fat Buu and he would free him. Now with Fat Buu now free, they would then finally flee Buu's body, and thus we would have Kid Buu. Now Kid Buu will pretty much be the same power level, as it doesn't make sense really changing it. Now he's so explosive and crazy, who would be able to stop it? Well, Gohan would finally stop it because he's not, he hasn't lost his energy. He was able to get his energy back and he's fine, so Gohan would fight Kid Buu because Goku has left Buu's body. he doesn't have a lot of energy left because the new Super Saiyan 3 form drains stamina intensely. Goku's already low on stamina. So Gohan would actually step up and fight Kid Buu, and Gohan would be able to defeat him. Using Piccolo's special beam cannon, it would completely engulf Kid Buu and defeat him, overwhelming the Majin. And the Earth was finally saved. So Gohan got the W and saved the whole world. As Goku also wanted Gohan to step up and fight Kid Buu because he knew that Gohan was far above him, but he also wants Gohan to fight in case he's not around. But now, of course, with Kid Buu now defeated, the Majin arc is ended. Fat Buu was saved, and yes, he still looks fit and everything. He's not really fat, but we all know he'll just gain the weight back, so it's okay. But either way, let's just say that Majin Buu looks like Fit Buu, so he's fine. Now, Lord Beerus would have still awoken, having dreams of a Saiyan god, a god that can challenge him and give him a true fight. But one issue though, man, how long's it been? He's been sitting there trying to wake up. As you know, Lord Beerus is a hard sleeper. He wakes up and he tries to remember it. It's something god. What was it? It was a Super Saiyan god, a Saiyan god. Yes, that's what he wants. The Oracle Fish would even explain it as well. He finds out that Frieza was killed by a Saiyan, or a hybrid apparently, and they are all on Earth. This of course piques his interest, and he wants to head there as soon as possible. Goku and them were all attending Bulma's 38th birthday party. With that, they would then see Beerus. Now Beerus would want to fight, but his nose is tingling. The smells that he is picking up is enticing him because of the amazing Earth food, so he would want to eat all of that first, filling up his stomach. Now that he's done, Whis is still goofing off eating his parfaits. He wants to meet Goku, and he inspects Goku, checking him out. None of them have God Ki, as they don't really have anything special to him. He does note on how Goku is very different from the others. He's more unique. Something about him's different. But they are all very powerful, but they're not a god. They cannot give him the fight that he's been wanting. Well, Goku would ask about the Super Saiyan God, and Beerus explains his vision. And so they would need to use the Dragon Balls. Luckily, Dende was there. As with that, they would then ask Shenron all about the Super Saiyan God. Shenron explains that as the Super Saiyan God, this being will be able to defeat any being in their path. Now, of course, he explains everything about Yamoshi and more, and they explain, well, how do we do this ritual? And so, this is when they would find out they need 6 Saiyans with pure hearts to give their energy to one. And Goku would then step up to become the Super Saiyan God. But there's one issue. This is when all the Saiyans give him their energy, even Videl, who is pregnant. Goku finally has some of the power, but it's incomplete. Something's missing. Remember, he's half Namekian. As here's the issue, Beerus even senses himself that he's right there. He has half of the power needed, but it's missing the true form. And Goku remembers explaining that he's half Namekian as well. And what are they going to do now, since Shenron is standing there waiting as well? Remember, because the Dragon Balls have more than one wish. So Shenron is waiting. Goku would then ask, how can I become a god since I'm part Namekian? Shenron would kind of say, oh, that's pretty confidential, but Beerus would threaten him, so Shenron doesn't have a choice. He would explain that a Namekian needs to fuse with the Dragon Balls. If he completely fuses with a set of Dragon Balls, he will be able to unlock the godly level magic, and he will become complete. And so, Goku then asks Dende if it's possible if he can fuse with this set of Dragon Balls, and it is. Shenron would then offer Goku to fuse with him. Now, fusing with Goku, the Dragon Balls would then go into Goku's body, similar to how they did when he was on top of Shenron back during the GT saga. And after fusing with the Dragon Balls, Goku would then finally transform, having his true god power. With this power, it was beyond anything that anyone's ever seen before. Goku is stronger than anyone's ever seen. With his power, Goku would then look at his hands, and this new aura is incredible. He's way, 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 way stronger than he was in the original when he fought Beerus as a Super Saiyan God. Now, Beerus is more enticed to fight him. The fight would then begin. Goku is holding his own much better against Beerus, actually pushing Beerus a little bit, as this is the anime version. Manga version, Beerus is still the strongest, but he's pushing Beerus very well. The two are clashing back and forth, and with this power, Goku can match Beerus, and he's only getting stronger, as he's only using about 80%. But both of them going at 100%, Goku was able to push Beerus very well. Now, there are two roads. Number one, Goku would then lose the God power, which, would that happen realistically? I'm going to say yes. I still think that is only temporary because the Super Saiyan God part, and Goku needs both to work. So the Super Saiyan God power would then run out, and he reverts back to normal. But he was able to infuse his power with that and absorb it to become stronger, and he uses that as a Super Saiyan to then begin attacking Beerus once again. But Beerus would finally be the victor because Goku would then run out of energy. With Goku completely out of energy and he is fully defeated, he would then submit that he lost to Beerus. And would Beerus do a promise to destroy Earth? Yes, he would do that because he wants to push Goku. But he did destroy Earth. He just destroyed a very small portion of it, just a little rock. And now he's done. Now Beerus would want to come back, of course, and he even offers Goku to come train on his world if he wants to. Whis is fine with that because he's very intrigued by Goku's form and he wants to continue pursuing it, as he wouldn't mind if Goku became a god of destruction. Now Goku would of course turn this down, as he's not a destroyer. And even though yes, he is more mature, he's not a destroyer. That doesn't make any sense for him to follow that path. And Whis says, well, that's a shame. But now, of course, as things would now continue on, Goku would be invited to go. Now, what about the other Z fighters? Well, I think we would have Nappa and Vegeta arrive. Now, with these big three, Whis is interested in all of them because they all do have great potential. And with this, they would then all begin their training. Now, Vegeta and Nappa have to catch up, but their rival is continuing to grow. They would be able to learn how to access God Ki and control it with Super Saiyan power, thus making Super Saiyan Blue. Goku already has his custom form that he's working on and mastering it, making it even more powerful, so they're all getting stronger together. Whis is actually a little interested in Nappa, as he did offer the role. All three of them are similar to each other. Vegeta was more thinking about it, but he turned it down. Nappa did not turn down the role of a god of destruction. Nappa says himself that, now I found what I want to do, as I can still fight and get stronger. So yes, Whis would agree to this, and he sees that Nappa has great potential. So it would be up to Beerus when he wakes up, what does he think? So after 2 years, Beerus would finally wake up. And after a little cat nap, he then suspects that Nappa it could be his candidate, as he is definitely strong enough. Nappa would then fight Beerus as a Super Saiyan Blue, and Beerus does see promise within him. He definitely fights like a destroyer. He's not too calm-headed like how Goku is or Vegeta. He likes destruction, which is a perfect fit, and he actually agrees to let Nappa be trained. So Nappa will now be the God of Destruction candidate, and he will start learning the ways of a destroyer, but it will take a long time for him to master this. So Nappa begins his own set of training. Vegeta is kind of doing his own thing as well, as he's training as well. He wants to watch Beerus and see how Beerus teaches Nappa, as Vegeta also fights more like a destroyer than Goku. Goku's training is different, as he's learning to master his form that he has. Now, what about the Golden Frieza arc? Would that happen? Either way, either road you want to go down, if the arc did happen, Frieza would have been completely annihilated. There's nothing that Frieza could have done that could have saved him. Goku and the others are way too powerful. Frieza would have been defeated. If it didn't happen, then the arc would have still gone pretty much without Frieza. The Dragon Ball Super would still carry on without him. Frieza does not make a big scene about it, and you could maybe make up an arc where he would train for longer, but that doesn't make a lot of sense for him, as he only trained for a few months, then he felt confident, and then he went to go fight Goku and the others, failing to realize that he also got too arrogant, and he realized to not train his form to outlast Goku and the others. But then, of course, we would then move on to the Universe 6 arc. Champa would still challenge Beerus, and Nappa would, of course, would he sit this one out? I would say yes, because he is a job obstruction candidate. So, of course, Champa says no. So Nappa has to sit it out. But it will still be Goku, Vegeta, and Piccolo who would then step up. Now, Vegeta would carry the middle part of the tournament, as Goku would still be knocked out by Frost. But we found out that Frost was cheating. And Vegeta would then step in, replacing Kakarot, switching out. He would then take care of Frost and defeat Kappa as well, showing him Super Saiyan Blue, which was his bad mistake, because when he goes to fight Vegeta, he does overwhelm him and defeat Vegeta, knocking him out. But now Vegeta is getting tired. When he does fight Hit, he fails to realize that his time skip ability is too fast for him, and he is getting overwhelmed. Vegeta also tapped into Super Saiyan Blue multiple times, and that's bad because when you do that, your stamina drops. You can only use 1/3 of the power of Super Saiyan Blue when you do that, stated by Whis himself. So Vegeta would have been overwhelmed and defeated. Goku would then step up, and with his new form, Beerus was confident. Goku was the backup card. With this new form that Goku has, aka his, I guess you could say, his Namekian God form, or maybe even his Dragon God form, which would be cool, because he is part Dragon, because the Dragon Balls have fused to him. Goku's new form would absolutely dominate Hit in the fight. He's too fast. Hit would then even try his time freeze, his time trapment, even his killer moves on Goku, and it wouldn't work. Now, Goku did struggle with his time trapping ability, but he would overwhelm it and crush it like how Jiren did with great difficulty, but he was able to. And this was incredible. Goku is a monster, and Hit would have been knocked out. Beerus would still wish Champa's world back. So that all evens out, just poor Champa had no chance. Beerus' fighters are just way too strong. But now after this, what about the Goku Black arc? Would that still happen? Yes, it will. Here's what would happen. Goku here is a lot more mature acting than the original. Now, one thing to note as well, will the Tournament of Power happen? Because Goku planted that seed in Zeno's head, talking about another tournament. I don't think that would happen. I don't think that Goku would outright tell Zeno that he wants to have another tournament like this again. He would still become best friends with Zeno. That would still happen. But Zeno does threaten on how the universe is not doing good, but we'll discuss that in a minute. But Zeno does kind of want something to go down. He wants to see this again, but it won't be a tournament. But we'll touch upon this in a moment. For the Goku Black arc, unfortunately for Zamasu, he would still, of course, be turned evil. Now, Goku, would he come along? It's up for debate, but I think he would. But he would be a lot more respectful of the Kais. Nor do I think he would actually outright fight Zamasu. And if he doesn't fight Zamasu, Zamasu doesn't really have the shocking factor of, people being stronger than the mortals being stronger than gods. So he doesn't have that philosophy. So realistically, Goku Black would never exist. But if you want to say that Zamasu personally wanted to fight Goku and Kawasu allows it to happen, okay, if he becomes Goku Black, he goes to Trunks' timeline, overwhelms Trunks, kills a lot of his people. Trunks would still go back to the past, which is forbidden, but Vegeta, Goku, and Nappa would then go to the future timeline with Trunks, and Goku Black is screwed. Because Goku Black then, after defeating them the first time, he then went to go find Zamasu, and they became allies. Then the second time is when Vegeta overwhelmed him. He got stabbed. That would all go pretty much the same. But since this is the time Goku Black is alone, he's by himself. Unfortunately for him, Vegeta would find him insufferable. He would have then attacked Zamasu. When he got stabbed, this is when Zamasu, aka Goku Black, would have a rude awakening from Nappa. Nappa has had enough, and Nappa would then tap into his God of Destruction mode, similar to how Toppo does, increasing his height by a couple feet and his size of muscle. He also has the 3 symbols on his chest, and he would form a Hakai and actually completely erase Goku Black. The other way is Goku would step in and kill Goku Black, defeating him. Either way, Goku Black would have been killed. Now, with this being said, since that was all done, the Goku Black arc would have ended much faster. Trunks would have never gone to a copy timeline. He would still be in his. Unless you want to move him there, it's fine. Now, Zeno still needed a friend. Goku would still use the Zeno button to bring this version of Zeno to that other timeline. That would all go the same. So Zeno still has a friend, and he's happy. But Goku's not an idiot, because Zeno originally threatened to destroy Universe 7 and the others because their ranking was low. Goku made a promise to Zeno with something added on. He asked Zeno that if he finds a best friend for Zeno to play with, Zeno will never destroy their universe unless it's absolutely necessary, like something crazy. And Zeno would think about it, but he would actually agree. And Goku found a best friend, a second Zeno. And Zeno says, alright Goku, our deal's set up. Even though your ranking is really low, I know that there is a new God of Destruction candidate on the way, and if he does a good job, then I will not destroy your universe. You have my word. And he wanted to thank Goku for it. And since this is the case, Zeno would explain that, but I still want to have a little matchup like how we did before with a tournament that was really cool. So Zeno would explain that he's going to pull the strongest fighter from each universe. At least the top 2 to top 3 strongest fighters out of each universe. And since there is 12, that means that a total of 36 fighters will have a match. And whoever wins becomes the winner, and they have access to the Super Dragon Balls to then make their wish. And if they lose, then their universe will be deleted. So instead of it being the full 100 plus people, it'll actually only be 3 people each universe. So for Universe 7, it would of course be the strongest people there. Goku, Vegeta, Nappa. Those are the strongest right now. Now, as for like Universe 11, it would of course be Jiren, Toppo, and Dispo. Those would be like the top 3 strongest. Now, every universe will have their top 3, and each universe would then combat one another. Now, Universe 11 was completely blitzing through everybody. They were defeating everybody. Now, this is when I think we would see a really cool matchup. We would see Vegeta fighting Dispo. Now, with them fighting Dispo, this is where I think that Vegeta would then showcase Super Saiyan Blue. Dispo's too fast for him. Vegeta would then tap into Blue Evolution for the first time, and he would then overwhelm Dispo with his speed, and he would defeat him even though Dispo is in light speed mode. Now, the next matchup for Universe 7 and 11, because no other universe has a chance. No other universe. They would have all been defeated, now they're all deleted, and it's only Universe 7 and 11. They would then have Nappa fighting Toppo. Both of them being God of Destruction candidates, they would both go into their own God of Destruction forms, and it would be a battle of destruction. Who is the strongest? And it would be extremely intense. But now, who would come out on top? Of course, it would be Nappa. Nappa would be able to come out on top. It was an extremely close battle, but he was able to win. Next up would be Goku versus Jiren. Now, Goku, even though in his new form, he is very powerful, he's able to push Jiren very well, he would be overwhelmed, as Jiren's strength is unlike anything Goku has ever seen before. Now, this is when Goku would try to use, of course, the Spirit Bomb and the other abilities. Nothing works. He's too strong. This is when Goku would still transform into Ultra Instinct, and because he is more intelligent in terms of having more experience, because he has thousands of years of experience because of Elder Guru, I feel like Goku fighting Jiren will be a much longer fight, but he would be able to master Ultra Instinct faster, and with this, he would be able to overwhelm Jiren easily and knock him out of the ring, being the victor. But of course, with the Super Dragon Balls now brought, Goku would then wish for all the universes to be brought back that were destroyed, so peace is finally restored. It would basically be like a faster version of a Tournament of Power. And now with that done, peace finally restored, Goku wanted to fight Jiren again in the future, and one day they will. But now, what about some of the other arcs? Now, with the Moro arc, Moro would have a severe problem because of how strong Majin Buu also is. Majin Buu, of course, still having the Grand Supreme Kai, he would overwhelm Moro with magic, or you would have Goku or even Nappa Hakai Moro and kill him before anything happens. Now, either way, Moro would have been obliterated. This is where I think Goku would also perfect Ultra Instinct, being able to tap into it at will, with the help of Mirrors as well. Now, as for the Gas and Granola arc, well, Frieza was never really brought back. If he was brought back, okay, whatever, but it wouldn't make sense for Frieza to be brought back here, because originally he was only brought back to life temporarily by Beerus, and then fully brought back by Beerus as a gift because he was in the Tournament of Power. Well, that version of the Tournament of Power never happened, so Frieza's still in hell. This means that there is no Black Frieza. Now, if for some reason Granola still wanted to go after the Saiyans, I don't know if he maybe noticed that the Saiyans are still around somehow, I don't know how, he would be overwhelmed and killed. But the arc would have never really happened. And the Heaters arc would have never really happened either. Now, as for the superhero movie. For the superhero movie, Gohan and Piccolo would have their time to shine. Piccolo would unlock his orange form. Gohan, I think, would still unlock the beast form. He would still have his potential unlocked with the help of the Supreme Kais, because Gohan, during his training, would still break the Z-Sword by accident. That would still make him unlock Elder Kai, thus unlocking potential, then unlocking the beast form. And you don't actually really need the beast form. Apparently, like in Xenoverse 2, like anybody can have access to it, so it's some kind of other form. But now, of course, with that said and done, we would then have the Broly movie. I know I'm jumping around the movies, but for the Broly movie, even if Paragus somehow found out where the Saiyans were, Shinlai and Lemmo helped Broly get there, the Broly movie would not necessarily happen. I still think what would happen here is that Shinlai and Lemmo would still befriend Broly and Paragus, but after seeing the abuse that Broly went through, over time, I think Broly would then grow his own character arc, and he would stand up to his father, telling him no. And then Broly would just travel around with Shinlai and Lemmo around the universe, helping them on their adventures, and Shinlai and Lemmo was able to calm Broly and keep him calm. So that's really what would happen for Broly. Maybe they could also land on Earth, and maybe Jacko could have even seen them as well. Maybe. But either way, that is it for this What If series. You guys, thank y'all for watching. I know I jumped around the arcs at the very end, but there's not much to really talk about. It's just that the characters are so much stronger, so the arcs would just have ended much faster. Some wouldn't have even started. But anyway, thank you all so much for the support. I really do appreciate it. Let's get to 50,000 subscribers, and I'll talk to you on the next one. Peace.